Guys, welcome to this new lesson where we are going to talk about WordPress themes. So if you've never used WordPress, what is the difference between this site that I just set up, skillgolf.com? Now we have our HTTPS and stuff, but the site looks very bland. And the difference between a site like Health Ambition, that is a site we've been running for a while. Essentially, a lot of the design codes that you will see on the site, the way the logo shows, the way the menu shows, the way the pages are laid out, and the way the posts look when you open them, etc. It's all going to be decided by what we call a WordPress theme. It's going to be essentially deciding on the layout of your website. Let me just close this. So I probably want something that looks a little bit more like Health Ambition, although not exactly for our golf site. I think this is way too bland. So we're going to need to find a WordPress theme that does most of that heavy lifting. We don't need a designer or anything. Most of this is done in packages that you can install very quickly. But before we go through there, I want to talk about what you want to look for in a WordPress theme. The first thing you want to look for is something very simple. As you can see, the theme on Health Ambition and same on Authority Hacker is actually the same WordPress theme. It's called Focus Blog. It's very simple. There's just a menu here. These I essentially built myself, and we'll show you how to build a homepage later. And then it's just listing our posts, etc. So it's very, very simple. And because you're going to be putting a lot of monetization methods like advertising, like banners for affiliate products, etc., like we have here, you want the theme to be simple, so all the complex stuff is occupied by your monetization and your content. Now, the second thing you'll be looking for in your WordPress theme is that it looks good on mobile. It's very, very important in B2C niches, especially. Most of the traffic is mobile now. Health Ambition gets something like 70% of mobile traffic. So what I recommend is that when you are considering a WordPress theme, in that case, I'm going to take Divi by Elegant Theme, which is a pretty good theme. I'm going to grab the URL here of the demo, and each theme is going to give you a demo, and we're going to go through all of these in a second, but you can see that they have a live demo here, for example, for Genesis, etc. So most of these, before you buy them, if you have to buy them, there are free ones as well, like this one. They will have a demo, and what you want to do is grab the demo URL, like I did on Divi here, and put it on this website called ready.mobile. And essentially what it does, it loads the website on big phones, small phones, laptops, etc., just so that you get an idea of how the site is going to feel on mobile. In that case, it's pretty good on desktop. It is a high tier phone. It looks pretty good. The images didn't load, but that's probably just a bug. Overall, that looks pretty good. This is a mid-tier phone, so something not very with not a very big screen and low resolution, but still it looks pretty good actually. And on a low tier phone, well, it's not the best. It's obviously really small because it's a small screen, but overall it's still readable. So actually that site does pretty good. You want to try the demo on all of them on that site. It's 100% free. So that is pretty cool. The next thing you want to make sure of is that the site is going to look good in most browsers. So I am using Google Chrome. I expect you will probably be using Google Chrome. That is the #1 browser these days, but people are going to use all sorts of browser, especially things like Microsoft Edge and Internet Explorer, which don't render sites exactly the same. So you want to make sure that your theme takes care of a lot of these different browsers and tries to give an experience that feels similar on all sites. So what you do is you go on browsershots.org and then you submit the URL of your demo here. Essentially what it's going to do is it's going to be opening the demo in all of these browsers. Now obviously it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to have to wait 2.5 minutes, so I'm just going to pause the video and show you when it's done. Alright, so the website has came back to me with a bunch of screenshots. As you can see, it's just opening the website in all of these different browsers and different operating systems, Windows 7, with Firefox and all the different versions of Firefox, etc., Chrome here as well, etc. Essentially, when I click on one, it's going to show me what it looks like. In that case, it didn't execute the JavaScript, I guess, so that's why it looks a little bit weird. But overall, the site looks like it's loading all right on most browsers. Some of them show the kind of welcome mat that they have, some of them don't, depending on how they execute JavaScript. You can see these old ones don't, but the new ones do. It's part of it. Just you want to make sure that most browsers show the same thing. If most browsers show different things, that's when you should be worried. In that case, there's 2 different versions because there is that little kind of dynamic arrow here that doesn't work with older version of browsers. It's part of the game, but overall, that's what you want to look for. Now, the final thing that you want to check on a WordPress theme is you want to check that it's coded properly, that it doesn't have many errors inside its code, because that could actually cost you some SEO ranking. So what you need to do is you need to go on the validator.w3.org and just put the demo URL here as well. And usually I just run a check and I check if there's not too many errors. In that case, Divi has 6 errors of HTML, which is not a lot. Usually, I start worrying when there's more than 20, although like a fatal error is something that I would worry a little bit about. But overall, it looks pretty all right. The theme I'm going to use, actually, I'm going to cut the suspense here, is going to be Rise. And I think we have the URL here. So if I put it in W3 Validator, for example, here, I think there's very few errors. So let's check it out. Yeah, you can see it has only 3 errors and they're like pretty tiny. So overall, there will always be some errors in the HTML. It's also it doesn't mean it's a deal breaker, especially when it's like a tiny error like the percentage thing. But you're looking for something that doesn't have a huge list of errors. So now let's talk about the different themes that you have available. There is paid themes like Divi that I showed, like Genesis that I showed already. You can see they're like $59, or like Thrive themes, right? And I think, $49 for license. So usually a theme is going to be between $30 and $60, let's say, when you get a paid one. There are free themes as well, and I've linked some below. So you don't necessarily have to pay if you really don't have the money. This one is pretty good. I've linked to it. It's 100% free. It's called Amazing Blog. And, if you look at the demo, it's all right. Let's check another one, Smart Magazine, that I've also picked, and Magazine Lite as well is 100% free. So let's look at it. But you can see like this Amazing Blog Pro one, it looks pretty good overall. It's definitely an okay site. It looks better than what the site looks like right now. Same with this magazine one, it looks pretty okay as well. And same with, this one is not really set up properly, so that's why it doesn't look very good, but it could. So there are some free ones. However, I still recommend you buy one. And the reason I recommend you buy a theme is because when you get a free one, you don't get support with it. That means that the theme doesn't get updated necessarily with the new versions of WordPress. There could be security errors, which means your site could get hacked. You don't get nearly as many functions usually, etc. So I recommend that if you can afford it, you fork the $50 into buying a theme. And I recommend Elegant theme, which is pretty good. I think Divi costs around $50, and it has a drag and drop builder, which is pretty cool. And I'm gonna use another one, but it does have it as well. Genesis is really quite strong. It doesn't have a ton of features. As you can see, it's pretty basic, but it is very fast and very strong and has everything you need. So I quite like it. Otherwise, I'm gonna recommend Thrive themes, and in that case, we're gonna be using the Rise theme by Thrive theme. So I'm gonna be installing it in a minute. And if we check the live demo, essentially it looks like this. I like it. It has big images, big colors. I can turn that into dark green, which is going to be perfect. For the site, the blog looks pretty okay. If I open a blog post, I can put an opt-in here later. Featured image, share buttons. Pretty classic, but I like it. It's pretty fast, and I like Thrive themes. I like using all the stuff. So that's what we're going to go for. Check one of these 3 if you want a paid one. If you want a free one, I've also linked to these below. Now I'm going to download Rise and I'm going to install it on our website. All right, so now I have downloaded the Rise theme, as I said, and I just checked out on Thrive themes and downloaded it because it's a paid theme. And then now it's downloaded on my computer. You can see Rise 1.20 17.zip. And all you need to do to install it on your website and essentially make your website look exactly like the demo is go in themes, my blog themes here. Then I'm going to click on add new. And I'm going to click upload theme. Here I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to go in my downloads and search for Rise. And you see the file is here. I'm going to install it now. And essentially the files are being uploaded to my WordPress site. And it's done already. Now I can just activate the theme, and basically if I go on my homepage, it won't look like the demo, but you can see that the site has already changed its outlook. Now it looks a lot closer to what we had in the demo. I'll stop that video here. You should have your theme installed. You don't need to personalize it right now. And in the next video, we're going to look at branding it so that it looks a lot more like a real Golf site in our case, or a lot more like what you would like it to look like as a final version of your V1 of your website. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.